at all?
We're live. Says we're live.
Yosef. What are you doing over there on the computer?
See if it's,
Okay. Does he see?
watching. Right.
Okay, it's live, Yosef. Something's wrong with your phone. Okay. Sorry, boys. Love the beard. I can't tell you, the Wi-Fi line and the whole world hears it. Love the beard, Rabbi. What's going on with the 8-minute daf? Don't fall behind. It's my phone number. Kitzer, this is another guy that likes my beard. Don't get too excited. I heard that there's a heter this year because Rosh Chodesh, it falls out on Erev Shabbos. I don't know if people are going to use that heter. The Mishnah Berurah says it's mutter. The problem is with the Yehuda Chassid. I think Rabbi Yasha says it's 100% mutter. So I think I'm going to use that heter. I will go down 10 years, literally in age. 10 years. What's going on with the 8-minute daf? The 8-minute daf, whatever it was. No, we're holding daf mem vav. Jump ahead. The 8-minute daf is on today's daf. Jump ahead and we'll make it up, Be'ezer Hashem. Here's from Michael Samperl. Again, we're doing all these today. I'd just like to express. Ashes and oil in it. It's disgusting. So it's muktzah. We said Reb Shimon doesn't hold it as muktzah. Noilad is an egg that was born on Shabbos. It was created on Shabbos and Yom Tov. Noilad. According to Reb Nachman Yitzchak, we said yesterday, Reb Shimon doesn't hold it as muktzah. Others say he does. Basis l'davar asur. We touched upon it the other day. We're going to talk about it a little bit today. It's support to muktzah. So if you have a flame on top, that's muktzah. The dish itself is a basis to that flame. It's supporting the muktzah. Muktzah l'mitzvasai we had yesterday, like a sukkah, like the decorations of the sukkah are muktzah because of the mitzvah. Very interesting. There's a Tosfos, and I pointed it out yesterday as well. It's not really muktzah to touch as much as it is muktzah to lessen it, make it like use wood of a sukkah. Like use oil from a candle, a Shabbos candle is also muktzah machmas mitzvah, we said. Muktzah machmas chesar and kiss, spoke about it all the way at the end of shir yesterday. We're going to kind of start off the shir with it today. That is, if something's really expensive, like the knife of a mayal, a painting, a becher, whatever it is, people set it aside, they don't want other people touching it, that itself creates a muktzah. And the final one, mechuber or mechusr tzeda, basically something that was attached to a tree or not caught yet, like a deer, so they are muktzah. If a apple falls off a tree, you're not allowed to touch it because it was connected to the tree. Let's see today's sugya. So that's just a chart. Not really a whole lot to do with our sugya today, but just to review the different muktzas that we learned. Where are we? No. We're Mem Hey Amid Beis. So yesterday we were discussing that Rav Asi had a menorah fall on him and refused to remove it with his hand. He said it's muktzah. What kind of muktzah is that? So we started off saying that perhaps it's muktzah machmas kviyas makom. It has a designated spot. It's a large thing. You don't move it, and that creates a muktzah. As the Gemara, 2 lines from the bottom. V'harei kilas chasanim. The Adam krivel makom. Here's a kilas chasanim. It's 2 rods on the 2 sides of the bed and 1 in the center. You drape over your like some sort of sheet, and it creates a beautiful kilas chasanim. Yeah, some people have beds like that today. In Africa, you'd have like a net. Now, because it's narrow on the top, we're not going to go into that. There's no tefach, so you're not creating an oil. So you're allowed to put it together and take it apart on Shabbos. V'omer Shmuel mishum Rebechia kilas chasanim daf memvav amenal v'ntap muter l'ntoisa umuter l'farka b'Shabbos. You're permitted to take it apart and put it together on Shabbos. Now, kilas chasanim has a designated spot. It goes right there in the bedroom on the left side. It doesn't move, so it's kviyas makom. Yet you're allowed to touch it on Shabbos. So you see that there's no muktzah called kviyas makom. Which, by the way, on this chart right over here, it's similar to this muktzah called muktzah machmas chesaron kis. Something I put on the side, a painting, a very expensive piece of silver, muktzah machmas chesaron kis. I don't want to touch it. It's similar to that muktzah. Ella, Amar Abayo, b'shel chuliyos. We're talking about a menorah that fell on top of Rav Asi. Why didn't Rav Asi move it? Because if this menorah was made out of different parts, it comes together. It's like pieces. You see this copper menorah, how it works, different pieces. That would be usher to touch on Shabbos. Why? Because of makeh b'patish. If it comes apart, you cannot put it back together again. That would be makeh b'patish. Yesterday we had the machlokes. Look at that. Michael Cohen has a beautiful copper menorah in his hand, much nicer than the one I'm showing here. If you can see, hold on. I will flip this camera just so that people on YouTube know what I'm talking about. Pick it up a second, Michael. Here we go. Okay, very nice. Yeah, whatever. Tell me if I'm straight now. I don't know if I put it back straight. So, Rish Lakish said that if it's a very small menorah, it's lightweight, you could carry it with one hand, it's not muktzah. But I could put it together apart. It's a Lego. What's the difference? Says the Gemara, so we have to change it around slightly. My chuliyos ke'ein chuliyos. Like Michael Cohen's menorah, I'm pretty sure you cannot take his menorah apart. He probably soldered it together. Correct, Michael? Yes, he's shaking his head. Yes, you cannot take it apart. Yeah, solder, all over solder. It looks like, if you were to look at him lifting up the menorah, it looks, I could go like this, I could take it apart. But you can't take it apart. This bechidke, it has these grooves, it has these things that look, these little things that look like it could pop off. But it doesn't pop off. Hilkach, chuyos ben gdoila, ben ktana, asur l'taltala. So I make a gzera, I say, listen, a large menorah that looks like it come apart like Lego is also, even though it can't come apart, because you might think in a different situation that you're allowed to hold a Lego-made menorah on Shabbos. So I say, you know what? All menorahs are asur, the large ones are asur. Even though it cannot come apart, but it has these grooves in it, it looks like it's compartmental, whatever the word is, it comes together, it has different pieces. Asur to hold on Shabbos. Perhaps you'll take a large menorah, a very heavy menorah that you can't really lift, so the way to carry it around is have different pieces, different parts that come together. But that's also to do on Shabbos. I made a gzera on everything. Ki pligi, where does Rish Lakish come in and say that a smaller menorah is mutter? Biktana de isbo chitki. If it's a small menorah, let's say this guy is small, and no one really takes apart a small menorah because it's small. There's no point of making it out of Lego. You can just carry it wherever you want, and everybody knows this, and nobody's going to confuse this with another menorah. Nobody's going to say, "Oh, look, Shloimi was holding a small menorah that looked like it could come apart, so Mamela, I could hold a very large menorah that could come apart." Nobody's going to make that mistake. Mar Savar Gazrina or Mar Savar Gazrina. Rabbi Yechon says there's a blanket gzeira on all menorahs. I don't care what size they are. Rish Lakish says no. You can use your common sense. A small menorah, there's no need to make a gzeira. Fine, that's that story. Going back to what we said yesterday, we said that Rabbi Yochanan holds like Rabbi Yehuda in Muktzah, that there is Muktzah. Rabbi Shmuel Levi paskin like Rabbi Shimon in Muktzah. That's what we said yesterday at the end of the daf. Now it's going to be an easy sugi. Why? Because we did this 2 days ago, word for word. Rabbi Yochanan paskins halacha kistam mishnah. Every time you have an anonymous mishnah, you don't know who it is. That's the halacha. Utnan muchni shala. You guys remember the wheel that comes off the wagon? If this wheel can separate off the wagon, so it's a separate entity. It's a kli by itself, and therefore we learned. Bizmanchi nishmetes, if it could come apart, ein chibur law. So if the wagon itself is mikabel tuma, let's say it drove over a grave, ein chibur law, the tuma doesn't transfer to the wheel. And if the wheel went over a grave, the tuma that the wheel has doesn't transfer to the wagon. They're two separate entities. Although they're touching each other, tuma doesn't transfer from one kli to another. Veinim dedes ima, and like we still say, that if you have a very large kli, like a wagon that's more than 40 sa, it's not mikabel tuma. And you measure it by displacing water in a larger vessel, you cannot displace the water of the wheels. It doesn't count for the displacement of the 40 sa. Ve'ein matzelis ima ba'il hameis. And if this, what is it called? Eder, a hoe, there's a better word for it. Like a shovel. If you have a kli that sticks over a mace, it's mikabel tuma. If the wheels were part of this kli, it would save this from tuma. But since the wheels are not part of this wagon, so by it sticking over the basic forest and the wheels becoming tameh, the tuma transfers through the wheels into this tool, and the tool becomes tameh. Just to clarify, I mentioned quickly, and after the shir, somebody was asking me on Zoom later on what I meant. He said it was very simple. I just said that I don't understand Rashi over there, because Rashi says this only works when the wheels are taller than the wagon. But when the wheels are shorter than the wagon, this concept doesn't work. And I said I don't understand why. What's the difference if the wheels are tall or short? Not that I don't understand the concept. I understand the concept. I just didn't understand the difference between tall and short. Fine. Now this is what's important to our sugya. This line. I cannot move a wheel on Shabbos when the wheel has money in it. Right? We're talking about a wheel that has a base kibble. You could stash away cash in there, and you're not going to move it. So Amidai, Kohen Oleh Mois, Sharia. If there's no money in there, then I could move it. So what's the simple pshat here? We got to just grab this concept. We're saying that there's money in the wheel when bein hashmashos, and if there's no money during Shabbos, in other words, erev Shabbos bein hashmashos, there was money. Somewhere along the line during Shabbos, somebody removed the money from there. A guy came and took the money out. According to Rabbi Yehuda, that would be called migudis katzoi bein hashmashos. It's katzoi lekula yoyma. According to Reb Shimon, so what if there was money there bein hashmashos? Right now there's no money, it's not muktzah. So the Gemara is basically telling us that this Mishnah is Reb Shimon. Why? Because it says, if there's money there during bein hashmashos, but right now, today, there's no money there, it's mutter, because I hold like Reb Shimon that says, Just because there was muktzah there during Ben Hashmashas doesn't mean that the muktzah lasts throughout the whole Shabbos. That's only Rabbi Shimon. So who does this Mishnah go according to? Rabbi Shimon. But Rabbi Yochanan says that the halach is like Rabbi Yehuda, that there is muktzah. But Rabbi Yochanan also says that the halach is always like a stam Mishnah. And this Mishnah, Muchni, is a stam Mishnah. And it goes according to Rabbi Shimon. So we got a contradiction here. In Rabbi Yochanan himself. How could Rabbi Yochanan paskin like a Mishnah that's stam and say that's like Rabbi Shimon when he himself holds like Rabbi Yehuda? But that's only because of a diuk. That you're saying, when is the money there? Bein hashmashas. And if the money is not there during the day, then it's not muktzah. Well, there's another way to learn it. Even though the money was there during Bein hashmashas. Omer Reb Zera. So it's a little bit of a doichak what Reb Zera says. It's not as simple because we learned the Mishnah like that and it was simple to us. Reb Zera learns it a little differently. The Mishnah seinu shlei hayu aleh mois kol Bein hashmashas. No. In order not to break Rabbi Yochanan, so we're going to learn the Mishnah differently. If there's money during Bein Hashmashos, yes, then this wheel remains muktzah the entire Shabbos because of the concept of Rabbi Yehuda. What the Mishnah is saying, if there's no money during Bein Hashmashos, if there was no money during Bein Hashmashos, then this wheel is not muktzah. And if there's money on the wheel, because a guy put it there, then it's muktzah. That's what the Mishnah is saying. Not that there was money there during Ben Hashmashas. There wasn't money during Ben Hashmashas. Who told you anything about Ben Hashmashas? It doesn't mention the word Ben Hashmashas, says Reb Zera. So I could just learn it regularly. If there's money there on Shabbos, when did it get on Shabbos? Then it's also to move. And if there's no money there, then it's to move. But if there was money during Ben Hashmashas, it would be also. So the Mishnah does go according to Rabbi Yehuda, not Rabbi Shimon. Or Rabbi Shimon Levi. So now the Gemara gives us one of these cryptic sentences. Rabbi Shimon Levi says, Rebbe once said, he gave a psak halacha. He said, a menorah is Rabbi Shimon ben Ner. Okay, let's break it down. A menorah, this guy right over here, that you could break apart into different pieces. We said it's muktzah because it looks like something that could come apart. Is like a ner, according to Reb Shimon. What's a ner? We said according to Reb Shimon, if you have a lamp that extinguishes on Shabbos, it's not muktzah. In other words, ner equals not muktzah. So he says a menorah is like a ner. So there's two ways to read this. Simple way, like I would read it. A menorah is not muktzah, like a ner that's not muktzah. Right? That's the simple way. There's a more complicated way. A menorah is muktzah. In other words, Rebbe said two halachas. A menorah is muktzah, a ner is not muktzah. Now why would you read it so funny? I didn't understand until I saw Tosfos. Because Tosfos says, what does it mean? A menorah is mutter, it's not muktzah, like a ner that's not muktzah. It's like saying a menorah is not muktzah, like a tomato. What's the connection? There's no connection. A menorah is muktzah because it comes apart. A ner is muktzah because it has a isur done with it. It has a flame. And Reb Shimon says that's not asur, that's not muktzah. So just like he said by a ner, he said by a menorah. What's the connection? Yes, he said this is mutter and this is mutter. But so is eating a donut on Tuesday afternoon is mutter. So say, just like eating a donut on Tuesday afternoon is mutter, so too, menorah. There's no connection. So that's why they said, oh, he actually said two halachas. A menorah is asur and a ner is mutter. Fine. Ibailu. We don't know what he said. It's cryptic. Did he say one halacha? Or perhaps he said two halachas. A menorah is asur, and there's another halacha. I'm passing like Reb Shimon in a candle that it's mutter, teiku. The Gemara remains in a teiku. Reb Malkiah ikla lebei Rebbe Simlai. Story. Reb Malkiah went to Reb Simlai's house, v'tiltil shraga, and he passing like Reb Shimon that a lamp, once it's extinguished, is no longer muktzah. It's only muktzah when you have a flame in it, but not after. Vikbid Rebbe Simlai. What are you doing? Why are you passing like Reb Shimon in front of my face? Rabbi Yossi Glila, Rabbi Yossi from Glila, Ikla la Asri, same story, but with different people. He went to Rabbi Yossi's house, Rabbi Chanina, Til Shraga. He carried a candle, a lamp, like Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanina. And Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanina was very upset at it. Now, we said, Rabbi Yochanan passes like Rabbi Yehuda that there is muktzah. Rabbi Shimon ben Levi passes like Rabbi Shimon that there's no muktzah. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Avo ikla last Rabbi Shimon ben Levi. Rabbi Avo shows up to Rabbi Shua ben Levi, who passes like Rabbi Shimon. He shows up to his neighborhood. Have a metaltal shraga. So then he would carry a lamp like Rabbi Shua ben Levi says that we pass like Rabbi Shimon. No muktzah, no muktzah. Okay, so in your neighborhood, I am metaltal a lamp. Ki ikla asri the Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan who passes like Rabbi Yehuda, they haven't metaltal shraga. So he was makbid on muktzah like Rabbi Yehuda. Manavshach. Why did he do this? Ikar Rabbi Yehuda Svir Levik Rabbi Yehuda. Ikar Rabbi Shimon Svir Levik Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Avo, wherever he went, he should paskin like himself. La'ilam Rabbi Shimon Svir Levik. Of course, he holds like Rabbi Shimon that there's no muktzah. I could carry it. Rabbi Yochanan who delay Ovid, but he didn't want to disrespect Rabbi Yochanan, so he refrained from carrying a candle. Rashi just points out you cannot say the opposite. You can't say that he held like Rabbi Yehuda that it is muktzah, but when he went to Rabbi Shimon's place, he would carry a candelabra. You can't carry muktzah just not to disrespect your Rebbe. You could refrain from carrying something, not to disrespect something, but you can't be over an aveira just to not disrespect Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Omer Rav Yehuda, shrago de mishcha shari tatula. If you have a lamp that you use for olive oil, so it's not so disgusting, so I'm allowed to carry it on Shabbos. Like Reb Shimon, this goes according to Reb Shimon. That just because there was a flame here, Erev Shabbos by Ben Hashmashas, doesn't mean that it's muktzah for the rest of Shabbos. So it's not muktzah for the whole Shabbos. Hold on a second. Let's see who's here. I'm getting sick of those guys on the first screen. Oh, I see Mordechai Seltzer. Chaim. How did Chaim get to the second screen here? I saw him in the first. Dave, because he wanted to be with his brother, David Kornblum. Gewaldig. This is not good. Rabbi Rubenstein is on too many days in a row. We got to do something about that. And Rabbi Eliwad is here. Okay, that's good. Levi Freeman, I see you on my last screen. That tells me when you got on today. Okay, no, Baruch Hashem, you're keeping up to the standards. We're not changing anything just because we're at home. Okay, weiter, back to the first screen. Omer Rav Yehuda, shraga de mishcha shara l'taltula, the nafta asr l'taltula. Pay attention here, very important. He says that if you have a lamp that you lit neft, I don't know, I think it's kerosene. I saw David Agal sent me that Steinzalt says that this is actually crude oil. I believe that's what he sent me back then when we learned. That's crude oil. That they were the first ones to discover crude oil, which, by the way, I'm not a big mumch in stocks, and I already said that everybody should buy Zoom in the beginning of this thing, and I probably was wrong because the FBI said you shouldn't be. I understand. But I'm not a mumch in these things. That's why I try to stick to real estate, to the things I know. Well, fine. Crude oil, less than $1 a barrel. Can you imagine? But eventually people are going to need crude oil, right? The planes are going to start flying again. I'm just saying, I don't know.
I think it's like minus $22 a barrel. It's
minus?
Yeah.
Oh, so obviously I don't know what's flying. Obviously I have no idea what this means.
I don't know what that means.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe it means futures, maybe it's not talking about I would think if something's that cheap and people are going to use it tomorrow, then we'll come back here 6 months from now. You'll tell me that it's not minus 22. Impossible is minus. If it's something that's necessary. All right, maybe they have to dump it now, and it's costing money to dump. They're producing it. I don't know. Zog the Gemara. But listen to this. Why is neft muktzah? Think about it for a second. Why is neft muktzah? Reb Shimon doesn't subscribe to this migudis katsoy ben hashmashos. It's katsoy lekuli yoma. So you used neft. No, sorry, another problem. He doesn't hold of muktzah machmas miyos. There is no muktzah machmas miyos to Reb Shimon. So something's disgusting. It's really disgusting. It's made out of kerosene. It's not muktzah. And we're talking about a Reb Shimon here. So why is it muktzah? So Rashi says beautifully. Where's that chart over here? First one. What's muktzah machmas gufay? Something that has zero purpose. A rock. I can't do anything with it. What am I going to do with a rock? Zero. It's not a kli. So this lamp that's disgusting, because it's disgusting, I can't serve another purpose. Not because it's muktzah, because it's disgusting. Because it's disgusting, I can't do something with it. I'm not going to use it to cover a jar because it's disgusting. I'm not going to use it to put on my table to hold something down because it's disgusting. So therefore it has zero purpose. Oh, now it turns into muktzah machmas gufay. That's the pshat, says Rashi. You see, 4 lines from the bottom, Ava benafta de mesrach, afilu Reb Shimon moida de lechazi ela lemelachtai. He doesn't say Reb Shimon moida the muktzah machmas mios, because Reb Shimon doesn't hold the muktzah machmas mios. The lechazi ela lemelachtai, it has only one purpose, and that purpose is gone, and Mimela, it's muktzah. Rabbi Rav Yosef Namritar Vayu. Again, we're going back to Rabbi Rav Yosef. We're becoming more and more familiar with them. The end of brachas, last staff in brachas, Rabba, Oiker Harim, Sinai, Oiker Harim, Rabbi Rav Yosef. One was a Rosh Yeshiva for 22 years, one was 2.5 years. They were buddies. Rabbi Rav Yosef Namritar Vayu. The Naftanami Sharit Altula. You're allowed to be metaltal this lamp that you used with kerosene oil. Why? Says the Gemara, beautiful story, really great story. Rav Avia ikla lebei Rava. Rav Avia was a guest by Rava. Havami isom bekare betina. In those days, and we learned a few times, their shoes were full of mud. I mean, think about it. There were no streets, there were no sidewalks. You're walking from house to house, just tromping in the mud. Just your shoes are just full of mud. So his people, the Gabe says, oh, sit down over here. He takes a seat, and what does he do? He takes his shoes, his dirty, disgusting, muddy shoe, and puts it on Rava's bed. What would you do if your guest came to your house and took his muddy shoes and put it on your couch? Ikbad Rava. Rava was very upset at him. So what do you do if you're upset? You could punch the guy in the face, or you could ask him kashas and Gemara, and you put him in his place, you embarrass him. You show him who's boss. Says the Gemara, Omarle, so Rava starts questioning him. He puts him through the grinder. He asks him, my time, Rabbi Yosef, explain how till this candle that was lit with neft. It's muktzah, why should you be able to do it? I could take this nasty lamp and cover a jar with it. Oh, says Rav, that's a terrible answer. Because then I could take every rock in the world and make rocks not muktzah. I could cover my jar with a rock. It serves a purpose. What are you talking about, Rava? This lamp is a kli. So yes, it's far-fetched melacha, it's a far-fetched utility, but nevertheless, I could take one kli and use it for another thing. Stones have no purpose at all, so I can't create a purpose for it with something that's not a kli to begin with. Miloi Tanya, let's turn the page, Daf Memvavam the Beis. Hasheirim v'anizom v'atabois. Jewelry. You have bracelets, nose rings, jewelry. So the halacha is, we're going to learn later on, that some jewelry, the expensive stuff, is also for a woman to wear on Shabbos. She might go out into Rosh Hashanah and she'll show off to her friend, she'll remove it in Rosh Hashanah. No jewelry for her. Not only that, in her own backyard, she's not allowed to wear the jewelry. However, she's allowed to carry the jewelry. But why is she allowed to carry the jewelry? Says the Gemara, because explains Zula, yes, her $10,000 diamond necklace is meant to wear, but guess what? You can take that diamond necklace and cover a $2 jar of salt. So it has some sort of purpose. But it's only because it's a kli to start out with. Even Ula says, since it has a Torah's kli oleh, it's a kli. In other words, so here also it has a Shem kli. Very good. So he answered him beautifully. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, Birich Rachmana, Baruch Hashem, Deloi Kasvei Rav Avia. I'm so excited that Rava failed in embarrassing Rav Avia. It would have been a tremendous problem here. Had he been embarrassed, I don't know what would have happened. Peda, who knows what. So I saw a beautiful pshat here from the Chassam Sofer in the Mesifta. He brings it down. Mam is beautiful. He says, well, why did Rava ask him this question, and who says it would embarrass him? So he doesn't know exactly this brisa. He says beautifully, Rava was trying to set him up. Rava says, why did Rabbi Rav Yosef say that you're allowed to carry a lamp? Rava wanted him to say, hey, you Rava, say on Daf Kuf Nun Daled. So I said this over to my chavrusa. I was looking at my chavrusa. I said, you know the Chassam Sofer? He says, no. So I said, listen to this beautiful Chassam Sofer. Tell him it over. He says, my chavrusa is Yedidi Kramer. His father-in-law might be on today, so I have to say this ma'isa. He tells me Daf Kuf Nun Daled. No, it's not on Daf Kuf Nun Daled. What you're talking about is on Daf Kuf Chav Beis Amud Beis. On the spot, he told that to me. And I looked it up, he was right. The Mesifta just made a mistake. It says Daf Kuf Nun Daled is Daf Kuf Chav Beis. But anyway, Amud Beis on the bottom, he said, and he was right. The Gemara over there says that the Rava's Talmidim took a piece of shard, a piece of muktzah, sort of, and they scraped off Rava's boots on Shabbos. And it's just very interesting lashon over there because people start complaining, look at your Talmidim, they're touching muktzah. So Rava said, not only do they not know how to learn, but they want to paskin halacha. So beautiful, great. Rava wanted Rav Avia to say, hey, you and Daf Kuf Chav Beis say that you're allowed to use a piece of cheres, a broken piece of cheres, and then Rava would say, oh yeah, you're allowed to use a piece of cheres? So why didn't you use your piece of cheres before you put your dirty shoes on my couch? You should not use a piece of cheres. You should only use a whole kli. So really put Rav in his place, kind of, and that's what Rav Nachman said, oh, Baruch Hashem, he got a good brisa, he remembered this brisa, and Rava's trick didn't work. But it was a very cheshbondik thing. Then that's I'm asking a question. Hey, what's the halacha about this and this muktzah? He wanted him to say, oh, you're allowed to scrape your shoes, and then once you scrape your shoes, and by the way, you forgot to scrape your shoes before you came to my house. Ramile, it reminded me of a story. Rabbi Chanan Wasserman once went into, I think, who says this? It's brought on one of those sfar from, what was that short rabbi's name, Gary? No, the Magi kid. Right, Yagel Galinsky. Thank you. I believe he says this. He says, what are you doing? You're supposed to knock from the front door. He says, no, my boots are full of snow. He says, are you crazy? You didn't say that. He says, I can't believe the Rav did this. I teach my kids that Torah comes first, and Achnas Esarchim, and Kavod Torah, and you're going to come through here. I need you to go from the front door. So he walked him out to the front of the house, and they walked, and he stomped through his carpets, and he says, oh. And it says over there, he says that all guys, this Balabas's kids became tremendous. They married big Talmid Chachamim. Anyways, fine, dirty boots in somebody's house. Or Abaya Rabba, Tanya. So Abaya, notice, first he asks Rabba. And who's Rabba's buddy? Rav Yosef. So later on, he's going to ask a kasha to Rav Yosef. Tanya, Moisar Hashem Shabbat Shabbat Asur, Reb Shimon Matir. If you have leftover oil after the fire is extinguished, that oil, according to Reb Shimon, is not muktzah. We said though that in the large kli it is muktzah. V'riminu, Reb Shimon Oimer, Kol Shei Mumei Nikar Me'erev Yontav. Let's just say this outside real quickly. You have a b'chor. You have a firstborn animal. Doesn't matter what kind of animal. A cow, a goat, a sheep. The firstborn goes to the kohen. The kohen takes it to the Beis Hamikdash. What if that animal has a mum? You take it to a rabbi, a chacham, and the chacham decides whether or not it's a mum. If there's a mum, it's the kohen's. The kohen could shecht it in his house. What happens if you find out that this animal has a mum on Yontif? Even Reb Shimon holds that this animal is muktzah. Reb Shimon, who doesn't subscribe to any muktzah usually, this one is muktzah. Why? Because he didn't anticipate it. As we discussed yesterday, Reb Shimon holds you have to anticipate. So let's see inside. Kol shei mum nikar me'erev Yontif. If you cannot detect the mum before Yontif, ein zeh min hamuchan. Even if a rabbi would tell you, yes, it's a good mum. A rabbi's not allowed to paskin this halach on Yontif. It's also for him. Let's say he was over an Isser and he said, by the way, that's a mum. He cannot take that animal and shecht it. It's muktzah. So the Gemara asks, what's the difference? Why is an animal muktzah according to Reb Shimon? Because he didn't anticipate it. But the leftover oil that started out as an isser, like an animal, a bchar, you can't shech b'yom yantif, and all of a sudden it became mutter on yantif to shech. No, it's muktzah. But this oil started out as muktzah, and now all of a sudden I'm saying I'm allowed to use the oil. So the Gemara, a very simple distinction. A person knows that it's not going to burn all his oil. He's going to have some oil left over. He's sitting and waiting. When can I use my oil? He anticipates it. Who says this is going to happen? The 3 steps. Even if it will have a mum, who says it's a permanent mum? Who says I'll find a professional that's going to tell me that I can use it? Therefore, Taisus points out you don't need 3 of these. 1 is enough. As long as I don't Mefirim nidarim b'Shabbos. Mefirim is to annul completely, to say that the neder never happened to begin with. V'nishalim l'nidarim shein l'tzorech haShabbos. Or I could go to a chacham and say, listen, the chacham would say, well, if you knew this and this happened, would you do it? No. Okay, so you're making a shaila on it. You're not annulling it. You're not saying it never happened. You're saying, had you known? Fine. L'tzorech haShabbos. This is for food. If a person, for instance, if a lady says, I swear the diet today, I'm not eating on Shabbos, but she needs to eat. So it's l'tzorech Shabbos, I could be made for the neder. But she's not anticipating somebody's going to undo her neder. Maybe her husband's like a chacham. Maybe her husband will say, no, I need to punish you. You need to be on a diet. You gained a little weight over Yontif. Stay on your diet. It's beautiful that you made that. What's the point? The point, anticipate a third party. You don't know what the third party is going to do. When it's in your control, great. You can anticipate. But it's dependent on your husband. So there's no patience. Says the Gemara, there is. A woman is soymech on her husband 100%. She only makes the neder because she does anticipate. It's not like, oh, maybe I won't find the rabbi. That's a good anticipation. Over here, she knows her husband is going to relieve her of this neder, and therefore it's a good anticipation, even though it's a third party, it's her husband at the end of the day. Fine, it's just a very interesting machlokes. I'm not going to go into it because we're running out of time. Since it's muksa for her, does it become muksa for other people? Tosfos says no. It's muksa for her, but the whole world could eat that food. She didn't. She made a neder for herself. Yes, you're right. It's bagel, but everybody else could eat that bagel. There is a ran that says no. It's muksa for everybody. Tashma. What about this man? Forget about a woman. A man could be made for his neder on Shabbos if it's food for Shabbos. Who says that the chacham will comply? Says the Gemara. All you need is 3 simple people. It's very easy to find 3 people. Maybe not nowadays, but in the usual Shabbos, you go to shul, you find 3 people, and they'll give you ataras nedarim. Who says you'll find a professional? To find a professional is hard. What about a bachar? You could have 3 people to say that it's a mum. That's only in a mum, like a missing limb, something really extreme. Then 3 shaitim could say, oh, by the way, it's missing a leg. But when it comes to delicate mumim, that you need a mumcha. Rami lay Abai le Rav Yosef, and here Abai is asking his partner, Rav Yosef. So we went through this very simple sugya. We learned in the Mishnah that even Reb Shimon holds that while the flame is on, then the lamp is muktzah. Why? So Rashi on the spot over there says, because you might extinguish it. And I mentioned the end of the sugya. The end of the sugya is not because you're going to extinguish it, because it's a basis l'davar asur. The lamp is holding the wick, which is holding the flame, and the flame is also to touch because you might extinguish it. So Mela, the basis, the basis, the support is muktzah. Let's see it inside. It seems like if it's not extinguished, it's muktzah. My timer. Says the Gemara, the Havamina is Dilma Bahadi de Nakil Kafsa, because you'll extinguish the flame. Ask the Gemara, what's the big deal? So what if you extinguish it? The famous Reb Shimon, the Sanya Reb Shimon, I could drag a bench even though I create a groove on Shabbos. So what if I walk with a flame and the flame gets extinguished? Maybe, no, there's a difference. When maybe I'll make a distinction. If it's a deraisa, like extinguishing a flame, like our case, walking with a fire, then Reb Shimon will say, no, there is no such thing as davar she'ein miskaven. You just extinguish the flame. When did he say his halacha? By dragging a bench. Now, making a groove in the ground is a deraisa, but not in this case, because it's shaloy kederech. Nobody digs with a bench, so that becomes a derabbanan. So maybe all the case of derabbanan of dragging a bench, says Reb Shimon, if you're not mechaven, it's mutter. But in our case, it's asher. So maybe it is a problem to be mechaba. And that's the reason why he says you shouldn't hold a candle that has a light. Matzav Rava, and we had this sugi as well, if you're selling, you're peddling your wear, and it's shatnez, it's a daisa, you wear it. You're trying to sell clothing, you're allowed to put it on. Don't let it protect you from the elements, from the rain and from the sun. You shouldn't have kavanah for that. But the tzaddikim, they would put their clothing on a stick. What do you mean? Shatnez is deraisa. So you see, there's no difference. Even in the deraisa, Reb Shimon says, as long as you're not mechaven, it's mutter. So over here, it should be mutter to walk with the flame, and if it extinguishes, he'll say you're completely potter. Elomarova, you're right. It's not because it might extinguish. Daf Mem Zayin Amud Aleph. One line and we're done for today. Hanach l'shemen l'ner shemen upsila. Oil the nasid basis l'davara asur. Since, hold on, we'll leave it on for a minute. Since this wick is mukta, the flame is mukta, and the wick is holding the flame, and the lamp is holding the wick, so it becomes a basis. It's a support for a davar asur, and that even Reb Shimon admits that there's muktzah on basis. Like we said yesterday, Shimon admits in muktzah gufay, and also the wheel, any basis is also asur according to Reb Shimon. Have a wonderful day. Noam, take it away, please. No, get a few minutes. Shema Elois me'amakim v'tzicha Adonai. Shema b'kuli kenu zechata shelo sechot Adonai. Adonai shema b'kuli Shema b'nois tishmoya Adonai miyamo. Shema b'nois tishmoya Adonai miyamo. Chas lichol leman tivorei. Chas lichol leman tivorei. Kisad nakivsa nafshi v'litro hochalti. Kisad nakivsa nafshi v'litro hochalti. Nafshi ladinoi mishamrim laboiker shamrim laboiker. Nafshi ladinoi mishamrim laboiker shamrim laboiker. Tell Adonai Kim Adonai Chesed V'Avei Ma'ikdu. Adonai Kim Adonai Chesed V'Avei Ma'ikdu. V'Yitesh Yisrael Mikol B'nei Yisrael. V'Yitesh Yisrael Mikol B'nei Yisrael. Achenu B'Yisrael Nesenu B'Tzor B'Shivya. Bein B'Yom B'Yom. Bokim Yirachem Aleim. Yizim Yizom B'Achim. Shud L'Gula. Ashtab L'Gula. Amen. Shkoyach. No, but you want people to be able to read what's behind me. No, the Eli Nishmas. If you mirror it, you can't read it. Thank you, guys.